So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host Saeed. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight, viewers. It's Monday in Trinidad and Tobago. We call it Bacchanal Monday here on Real Talk with Penny and with Marvin and some of the members from the PNM administration. So Trinidad and Tobago. Let me give a little story about Penny. Penny was on the ruling party at one point in time, which is the PNM, for almost 9.5 years. Story 2. So Penny now sat back and watched Dr. Rowley run Trinidad for almost 9.5 years. Did Penny give Dr. Rowley or the PNM administration any sort of advice, seeing that you were a minister, on the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago? You see, we're dealing with the real issue now, because Penny and her team wants to deal with the real issue. So we are dealing with the real issue now. For all those PNM people who love to watch and criticize Real Talk, let me tell you something. Let me see how good all our brains is. Let me see how good how all our reality is. Let me see if all I could comprehend reality. That your grocery went up and your pocket now, your salary get thinner. Cost of living went up, your pocket get thinner. Traveling went up, your pocket get thinner. Dinner and dance went up, your pocket gets a little thinner. And according to Marvin now, give your children macaroni pie once for the month. Because of the fact that things so expensive that your salary decrease and decrease and decrease. So I want to know now if you all are like Dr. Rowley and blame Kamala for 9 years when the PNM was in power. Now, like I said, I am not affiliated with any political party. And when I come here, I come to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You know why? I am a businessman. I am a father right here in Trinidad. The same expense you have is the same expense I have. Because when you pay $150 and $200 for a duck to eat on Sunday, I pay the same $150 and $200 for the duck on the same Sunday. So let's talk about Penny. Today, the rhythm of the nation takes center stage as the Trinidad and Tobago, along with the rest of the world, celebrates World Steel Pan Day. Trinbago President Beverly Ramsey Moore stressed on the importance of preserving steel pan history beyond culture stereotypes. I want you to listen to this carefully.
Because we definitely need to do more and to teach the history more in our schools. We try to do it at the panyards because definitely it is not happening, and so this is a conversation that needs to go further with the Ministry of Education.
Now Trinidad and Tobago, on Sunday, the Trinidad All-Stars Steel Orchestra brought Times Square in New York City alive as the band performed at the third installment of Pan in the Square. Have a listen. we celebrate not just an instrument, but a symbol of creativity, unity, and national pride, as our means of music has traveled throughout the world, even in Japan, where the Japan Carnival Band, Carnavala, performed Engine Room by Olatunji. Now listen to this, viewers. So now Trinidad and Tobago. To many, the rhythm of the steel pan gives a sense of freedom and more. So hold on right there.
Building community.
Now Trinidad and Tobago. Come back to me. I want to let you understand something. The reason why I showed you this is to understand pan in Trinidad and Tobago. The creativity of pan in our country. It goes to show how far it has reached. Now I saw Penny made a demand that pan should be in school. This is my point now. Pan was created long ago. I believe on the coat of arms now have the pan as a symbol. So now, Penny in opposition, I want you to keep in mind Dr. Rowley's cabinet, when Dr. Rowley was the PM, their cabinet chose to remove the 3 ships and put the pan as a symbol of Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing's wrong with that. Up to this day, we don't even have the cost of how much it costs to redesign the coat of arms. But nevertheless, Penny was a minister under the PNM when that took place. Gatsby Dolly, the Minister of Education, didn't say anything about pan in school. So now Penny's on the opposition now demanding that pan be taught in school. All well and good, nothing is wrong with that. It's an instrument, it's a musical instrument. It was created in Trinidad and Tobago, and I would applaud if pan could be taught in school. But listen this. So how come Penny, being a then minister in the PNM administration, didn't demand Gatsby Dolly that pan be taught in school? You see, some of you would say, oh, Saieed, you're bashing the PNM. No, this is common sense. This is common sense. From minister to opposition, demanding the present government now. When Dr. Rowley decided, you know what? The cabinet, we're going to redesign the coat of arms. You put in the pan. Why Penny didn't get the idea now to say, you know what, we want pan in school now. Tell the then Minister of Education, Gatsby Dolly, you know what, introduce pan in school. Now you're demanding as an opposition leader. And this is the sad part about it. All of a sudden your eyes open up. All of a sudden you now get up from sleeping 9.5 years. It's sad. It's really, really sad, you know. Now you're demanding as an opposition. Well, nevertheless, let's see how far your demand goes. Now, to many, the rhythm of the steel pan gives a sense of freedom and more. Listen to this.
Family, togetherness, building communities.
Being a proud Trinidadian legacy means community.
Culture, unity and love, liberation, creativity and freedom, independence,
expression by freedom to be creative and comfort and security.
a form of identity.
So you see, back then, Penny wasn't thinking as a minister. She had to stay quiet. But now you are the leader of the opposition. You are demanding now. Such a sad state of affairs. It's sad. It's really sad. But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago. Moving along. Minister of Public Utilities Barry Patharat has since described the recent revelation surrounding CEPEP following a High Court judgment that referred the matter to the Director of Public Prosecution as scandalous. The controversy points to the alleged fraudulent extension of over 300 CEPEP contracts, reportedly based on misinformation that the former cabinet had approved the move. CEPEP said this exposed the state to a $1.4 billion in unauthorized expenditure. However, Patharat assures that the government will fully support the investigations. Here it is.
So I will not want to reflect in terms of timelines with respect to the TTPS or the judiciary, except to say that the government will do its part in terms of lending its immediate support and all of its support with respect to the investigations that will be conducted by the Anti-Corruption Bureau, the Fraud Squad, and ultimately the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
So now viewers, now you all understand the amount of taxpayers' money were going to be spent on unauthorized taxpayers' money. $1.4 billion. That could have fixed road. That could have built schools. That could have buy CEPEP medicine and placed it in the hospitals for the less fortunate. That $1.4 billion. Now, he said the government feels vindicated in its position and is committed to pursuing justice. The minister also defended the government's early stand on CEPEP and also called the former line minister Saieed Ali to publicly clarify his role in this matter. Here it is.
When the matters regarding CEPEP first arose, there was a large hue and cry in terms of government's position on CEPEP, but we were very clear from day one in terms of what we found, what were the challenges at the company, the advice that was proffered to us, and therefore we are seeing the fruits of the challenges that were made, but us standing strong in our conviction in terms of advancing the interests of the company and protecting the well-being of the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago.
Viewers, your tax-paying money was going to be spent without proper authorization. How do you feel about that now? How do you feel now that you're going down the road and you're going along in a pothole when that $1.4 billion could have spent to fix that pothole? But the late administration or the former administration always saying tighten your belt. The leader of the PNM administration a few months ago always telling us to tighten our belt until they got large increase. Marvelous Marvin telling you to carry out your children one time for the month while he got a large increase. So while your child eating macaroni one time for the month, how many times his children or his family eating steak? Ask yourself that. Let me tell you something. It have nothing to do with UNC and PNM. It having to do with the statement Marvin made. So while you PNM supporting Marvin, who got an increase, why all you had to beg for 4%, why all the children had to eat macaroni pie one time for the month, ask Marvin how much steak he and his family eating. Ask yourself that. But you're balling great as Marvin. Great as Marvin. Marvin got tax exemption on vehicles. What they get? All the tell man, all the tell man. All they don't like to face reality. And this is the reality. Not only the PNM people, but the UNC people also face it together with the PNM. This is the facts that is before you. This is the reality. Anyhow you want to turn it, it's still slapping you in your face. Whether you're Indian, whether you're African, whether you're Chinese, whether you're Portuguese, whether you're Venezuelan, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your race or your culture. The truth slapping you in your face right here in Trinidad. And you have no other choice but to swallow it. So when I talk about outside you're bashing PNM, you have to be a clown. You have to be an illiterate, duncy head individual. Not to realize you're going wrong in a pothole. And who fixing your car? Nobody else but you. Who pocket it coming out from? Not your boss. Not your neighbor coming out from yours. But outside you're bashing. It's sad. It's sad. Former Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program, CEPEP, Chairman Joel Edwards, has stated that he never had any conversation with or gotten instruction from the then line Minister Saieed Ali on the program CEPEP, the $1.4 billion in contract extension. The revelation came as Edwards' lawyer, St. Clair O'Neill, wrote to Freedom Chambers, Jared Jagru, in response to media reports which quoted Anand Ramlogan SC are calling on Edwards to clarify the air on Al-Rawi's involvement in the matter. Edward further denied ever misleading the board, asserted that any perceived misstatement in a board could not have been clarified had the board met again. So I want to know now, who gave the instructions? That is what I want to know. Who gave the instructions to renew? This is the problem we are having. Who gave the instructions? Because cabinet have to approve it. And if cabinet did not approve it, who gave the instruction? You all didn't know that the PNM cabinet gave the authorization to shut down the refinery. You didn't know that until I tell you. I'll see it on the program. And I didn't know that. You all didn't know the PNM cabinet gave the authorization to raise gas in May last year. You all didn't know that. You thought it was NP. No, it wasn't NP. It wasn't NP. It was the PNM cabinet. Who had to pay for it? You, the citizens. While the PNM minister going and filling up their tanks free, all you had to go and pay for it. You had to cut back. No, you can't fill up your tank right up again because of the cost of living. You had to pull half tank. Imagine you put 400 to fill up your tank and you had to cut from 400 to 200 now. Is that it? Yes, sad, but blame Saieed. Blame Saieed. Viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, government officials reject hike rate. Oh, Marvin guts may be turning up. More when we return.
We'll be right back.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over, with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Welcome back.
Caller, good night.
Hi, good night, Saieed.
Go right ahead.
So what I find, very, very strange, this very gentleman, Faris Amram. First of all, involves two children with big guns at, somewhere in some camp. And, amazingly, the officer who had revealed this was dead. I don't know how he died. And the same Al-Rawi again was involved in things, in collusion, with this Nelson Gate matter, where, money was paid and he was trying to subvert in the course of justice to give immunity, which is a function of the DPP.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is passing so stress. Now again, this fiasco with CEPEP and what have you. What I'm saying, sir, is this man, is he above the law? Because now, it was perceived and the public felt it was a PNM police service. That is why nobody was doing him anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a new dispensation and we have a tough talking commission and no one is above the law. What it is they are waiting so long to have this man? Now, the other thing, sir, Al-Rawi cannot act without the permission or the consent of the then Prime Minister. It is passing rather strange. How is it Rowley is not being called? He is the man, he has to know everything. And you know what is upsetting to citizens, sir? You're going to give contracts, billions of dollars in contract. Then you want to come and squeeze and penalize the vulnerable taxpayer to increase tax. The government don't have money. And look where money is going. Money was pilfering and wasting. This is where, they say we have to increase water rate, electricity rate, property tax and all these kind of things. Is it to finance this kind of corruption, sir? I think a massive, I don't know if we have the capacity, but I think they should bring in international people in this. Because remember one time Rowley was talking about this guy with the Susu business that he bringing foreign. We need Scotland Yard and the FBI to deal with that, sir. We need those things. It is our money, it is taxpayers' money. Let them question from the head, because Rauli in his tenure used to say all who is corrupted and all who is not corrupted, look what has happened under his tenure, sir. And I am calling on this new dispensation. I am calling on Mr. Roger Alexander, sir. Engage the services of the FBI in Scotland. I don't know if whether our local police have the capacity for this, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, my friend. So viewers, a second autopsy done on the 6-year-old Joshua, my mistake, Joshua, has contradicted the findings of the first and renewed the parents' hope for justice. According to the report, the child suffered a sudden, severe heart problem while receiving intravenous medication, leading to heart failure, kidney damage, and brain swelling from lack of oxygen. His father, Aaron, said the findings vindicated his initial belief about his son's death. Listen to this.
What I can definitely say is that my initial suspicions about what was done to my son, or what happened to my son, right, was vindicated emphatically and without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. This now, it points to a step in the right direction where we can put our son to rest.
So Trinidad and Tobago, the Health Ministry confirms an inquiry will be led by a team outside of the Southwest Regional Health Authority. Joshua's funeral is scheduled for Saturday coming at the Baptist Ambassador for Christ Church at St. John's Village in San Fernando at 11 a.m. So Trinidad and Tobago, to the parents from Real Talk, group of companies, we want to send condolences, and I hope the family gets the support that they need from the ministry in order to put this at rest. Let me tell you something. This is really, really a sad incident that happened. Really, really sad. And condolences to the family. Caller, good night.
Mr. Sai, great program as usual. My condolence to the parents of that child, man. Very sad, but
yes, it is.
What's going to happen? This is life, But anyway, I was at the Chaguanas Health Facility on Saturday night, accident and emergency. And this no good, I don't know where he came from, just barging into the place, bypassed the security and gone into where the patients are. Started quarreling, making noise and threatening. However, when the security said, look what you did here, you bypassed us and come here and this is your behavior, he took out a badge from around inside the shirt, some piece of iron, and said, look, I am police officer, I could do what I want, I could come in here, I'm police officer and my relative here. So doctors came out to find out what is happening and so on. And this man had no respect for security. If you hear how he get on, he's police officer and he could do this and he could do that and so on. So all security trying to get here out today, he continued to carry on and carry on and carry on until a senior doctor and some senior officer came and get him out today. But apparently he had a weapon on him, and he pulling the shirt to show everybody, well, he have a weapon on him. So I advise the security and them there to make sure and report that to the police station in Chaguanas. So I don't know what they did, what happened from there on. But that's to tell you the kind of hooligan we have in the police service, and he should act better than that.
Correct.
His relative is inside there. They have to sit down and wait just like everybody else. Not because he's a police officer, you're going to come in there and bypass everybody. And and they were watching, there were people there on the phone watching Real Talk, So when I saw that, I said, you are looking at Real Talk. And that's how the conversation started. And I said, I will highlight this for you all. But you all have to do what you have to do. Correct. So I hope Gavero and Alexander is listening to your program. And they're going to deal with that no good. I don't know if they reported him, but it happened Saturday night around 10 p.m. I went to drop a relative to work, and that's how I ended up there. And anyway, I don't know if Guerrero and Alexander note from last week Friday to this morning, there were over 150 robberies in this country and car stealing, carjacking that I don't know if they know about it. It happened from last Friday until this morning. And a minister relative and uncle and aunt were mercilessly beaten in South, and there were rough home invasion. So I don't know if what is all your crime fighting plan, you know. Apparently you all have no modern day crime fighting plan. You all brought nothing new to the table for us, you know, Guerrero and Alexander. So come on, step it up and let us know what is all your plan. Don't forget the citizens paying you all, you know. And Rowley told us that when you see the citizen of this country is paid any state official or high office holder, they have all rights to question you.
Correct.
And sometimes criticize and condemn you. So step it up and let the citizens know what is all your crime fighting plan. Mr. Saieed, this country will fix with you in the leadership role. God bless you, and many, many people are looking at your program, even not live, but they are looking on the phone and so on. So God bless you and the staff, Mr. Saieed. Keep up the great work you are doing.
Thank you, my friend. So Trinidad and Tobago, as we talk about police, hear this, eh? You know, it's sad that I live in Shogunas and I had to talk about Shogunas police station. It's sad, you know. Is it true that seniors in Shogunas police station is taking advantage of the junior officers in Shogunas station? Is it true? Recently, a corporal had, you know, the Hindus and them, they have prayers by the house where they cook food and invite people, and they just come and have a feast, giving thanks to God in their own way, religious way. So, it have an officer working there 5 years now in Shogunas. 5 years now. And applied for vacation leave, or sick leave, I believe, for the individual to do his fast, to clean up his place, you know, fix up wherever they had to fix up, and to keep our prayers home in his house. And you know, the seniors refused to give the man sick leave and time off. I go call name, but is it Tuesday night, tomorrow night? I will give all you a full rundown of everything. I tell you, I was shocked. I live in Shogunas, and the last thing I want to do is highlight the Shogunas station. It's the last thing I want to do. Because it have some officers in Shogunas station, I just support them. And the last thing I want to do is stink up Shogunas station. You know why? I live in right on Carolina Savannah Road. And the Shogunas police station, on top of my building, I seen Shogunas police station. I'm telling you. And that's the last thing I want to do. But what have to come out will have to come out. Nevertheless, Tuesday night I'll give you a full rundown. I have a whole list for all about long, so you know. But we're going to deal with that Tuesday night, after tonight. Minister of Public Utilities, Barry Pathard, has confirmed that the government's formal rejection of the Regulated Industry Commission, RIC's, proposed electricity rate increase. I'll listen to this.
At this time, an incoming UNC government will not pursue accepting the recommendations of the RIC as it relates to increase water and electricity tariffs. I can tell you today the Cabinet has confirmed, I have the confirmation, the minute in my hand, which shows the Cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has rejected the RIC's recommendations as it relates to the electricity tariffs.
So you know what that means, viewers? You, the citizens, whether you're NTA, whether you're PPP or PEP or UNC or PNM, you have no increased electricity rate to pay as the previous administration wanted to raise. Now, the minister then criticized the previous administration for allowing a $87 billion debit between TNTech and the natural gas company NGC to accumulate. He also revealed that $1.5 billion in outstanding receivables from state agencies had further crippled TNTech financial standing. The minister blamed the opposition for allowing the debit from the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Company to NGC to balloon to millions over the past 9 years. I'll listen to this.
Without being too unkind to the former minister, it's almost shameless for the former minister to have raised this particular issue, because we didn't just arrive at a $7 billion debt between TNTech and NGC. For the last 9.5 years, this debt was allowed to balloon unaddressed in two incarnations between the period 2015 to 2020 and 2020 to 2025 until the general election. This is a situation that we inherited of the $7 billion debt that was left unaddressed. But we are not ignorant of that fact. But I also want to raise another context which the former minister has not raised. And that has to do with the $1.5 billion in outstanding receivables that was also allowed to accumulate over the last 9.5 years across state agencies, ministries, state enterprises.
So Trinidad and Tobago, TNTech owes NGC $7 billion in debt. Good? Nice. State agencies owes TNTech $1.5 billion in debt. So my question is tonight now, where is $1.5 billion that were allocated? Listen to me carefully, Trinidad and Tobago. Where is $1.5 billion that were allocated to state agencies to pay utility bills? For instance, TNTech. I wonder if Marvin could come out now. Marvelous Marvin. I wonder if Marvin could come out now and tell Trinidad and Tobago, where is that $1.5 billion? Marvin, stop telling Trinidad and Tobago citizens to carry out their trial one time for the month to eat macaroni pie. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago wants to know, where is $1.5 billion gone? That money, Trinidad and Tobago, you see when you read the budget every year, the budget is given allocation to each ministry to pay workers, to pay electricity bill, to pay water rate, for stationaries. Marvin, where is the $1.5 billion that were allocated to state agencies to pay TNTech electricity bill? Where is that money? You know, nobody will look at it like that. You know why? That money has been allocated already. So where is that money, Marvin? Where is that $1.5 billion? Now, all I remember when Marvin told earlier that they owe TNTech money, all I remember, I want to carry all backward. Why you think the PNM administration came up with this plan to raise the electricity bill so that they could raise $7 billion from you and I, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to pay TNTech, to then go and pay NGC? For 9 years, they didn't pay their bill. For 9 years, every time the budget reads, Every time Clongenberg present a budget in Parliament, money was allocated. Where did that money go? Ask yourself now, where did that money go? Today now, Marvin wants to know how the UNC administration is going to pay TNTech if they don't increase the electricity bill that you and I, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, have to pay now. Why? Because Marvin couldn't do his homework. And you and I, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, who pay our electricity bill $200 and $300 every month, the RIC now, because of marvelous Marvin, public utility ministers, the RIC now had to listen to them, do a survey, raise the bill. Who paying for it? You, the citizens, the PNM people, the UNC people, the NTA people, the PE people. We had to dig deeper in our pocket now. So if you used to buy 2 doubles in the morning, you had to cut out eating doubles in the morning. You know why? Because at the end of every 2 months, you have an increase coming in your electricity bill. So no wonder why Marvin was telling earlier, you have to give your children macaroni pie 1 time for the month. You know why? Because the chichi you have to be cutting out from your salary every 2 months was to pay electricity bill. Who bill? Only TNTech bill that Marvin them couldn't pay. So I want to ask Marvin now, every year when the budget reads in Parliament, where is the allocation? Where is that money, Marvin? Let me tell you something. All of this feel, I come in here to Mama Guy earlier. But ask yourself, the money that was allocated for state agencies to pay light bill, where that money gone? Where that money disappear? Whose pocket is that money in? $1.5 billion. State agencies owing. Good? Now, all you have to contribute now to make up the rest of money to reach $7 billion. Because why? Because why? Because Marvin now ain't want to pay TNTech. And that called a financial breakdown now, with TNTech receiving their money from the state, and now TNTech in debt now to NGC. All because of who? Which ministry? Public utilities. What they do? They refuse to pay their debt. How they refuse to pay the debt when money was allocated? So my question is now, where is that money now, Marvin? I wonder if Dan Paul could answer that question. I wonder now if Clongenberg could answer that question now. Where is all the allocations? Let me open all your eye a little bit. Where is that money, Marvin? Finance ministers, where is that money now? So are you trying to tell me now 1.5 million disappeared just like the 2.3 billion? Huh? PNM people, what do you have to say? Let's say something. Say something. Because of Marvin Gonzalez, all you the citizens, all you the PNM people, all you the UNC people, all you the PEP people had to cut all their salary now to pay TNTech. Why? Because marvelous Marvin, the bright lawyer, couldn't pay TNTech bills. Tell him Saieed say so. It's sad. And you want to come and tell me now, I had to feed now my son and them who like macaroni pie 5 days for the week. You want to tell me I had to feed them that 1 time for the month? And then you want to look outstanding. And then you want to travel tax-free. And then you want to go up in the Hyatt and eat steak. Telling CPO, let a bargain for 4%. While you get 40. And Marvin, that's what you want to tell Saeed? A citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, a businessman in Trinidad and Tobago, a taxpaying individual in Trinidad and Tobago, you want to come and preach that to me? Marvin, you're dubbing it nice. But your maths ain't mathsing. You know why? Where is the allocation coming from Clongenbert to the Public Utilities Office to pay tea and tech? Where's all that money going? Come Marvin, say something. I would love to hear Penelope Beckles. I would love to hear Clongenbert. I would love to hear Mr. Dan Paul say something now. Oh, the treasury ain't no money. Nobody can take no money from there. So where I want to know is where the allocation going. Dan Paul. Somebody get that message to Dan Paul. How you feel? Hey, watch me now. Watch me now. Let me put on my glasses so I can see me better. All you feel, this man here is a Dancy head, side the road, vagrant. All you feel, I just crawl out and nowhere for 8 years on TV and become #1 current affairs program. Where's the allocation money? Now all you would understand now the kind of class I from. So all I didn't know. Wait. So Trinidad and Tobago citizens, you all didn't know that the finance ministry allocate money for utilities, for state agencies to pay tea and tech. All you didn't know that? How sad. But tonight all you would know. So that's why I'm asking Marvelous Marvin. He marvelous. He's a lawyer. He was a police. He's telling you, one time for the month you had to carry out your children. Brother man, tell me where the allocation went and then tell me how much time to carry out my children for the month. It's not a side road man you're dealing with, you know. I didn't crawl out from under a rock, you know. It's 30 years in the finance industry. That the amount of brains I have here. And you see this little bald head was shining? It's 30 years of finance and accounts inside it, you know. It's 3 loan centers Real Talk have, you know. It's 2 credit union Real Talk managing, you know. So if you feel this bald head man here on TV, just so, think again. Think again. I will beat you at every game you bring out. Every game. It's finance are from. You're a lawyer. Watch the show. If you feel it going bad, carry me to court. You was a former police, you know the law, you could lock me up. That is one of the reasons why Real Talk don't ask nobody to spend 10 cents on an ad to put it on from 7 to 8. You know why? Because the 10 cents I might have to call you and throw it back in your face. Who getting it falling? That's them business. So I wonder now what Marvin have to say. 1.5 billion. Where did that allocation go? Whose pocket it went into? Trinidad and Tobago tonight, all your eyes open. And it opened very, very, very wide. Now listen to this, Barry, the minister blamed the opposition for allowing the debt from T&Tech to NGC to balloon to millions over the 9 years. 9 years of money gone missing, However, Minister Padarat stated that the government is actively working to develop a payment plan to address the debt and restore TNTEC operational viability. Listen to this.
Since coming into government, we have been actively looking, myself, Minister of Finance and the Minister of Planning. And over the next couple of days and weeks, we will be articulating to the population in terms of how do we see a payment plan in terms of ensuring that the debt between TNTEC and NGC, because many in the national community, we keep speaking about the debt between TNTEC and NGC, not understanding how it works in terms of how the layman's understanding of it.
Imagine that, eh? Marvelous Marvin couldn't even understand it. So here Marvin now, after Marvin ain't paid TNTEC for 9 years. Money missing. Money missing. Marvelous Marvin now previously stated that scrapping the RIC plan sounds good, but can have financial implications. Listen to this, we go talk after.
Prime Minister must also explain to the population, because scrapping a plan sounds good, looks good, but it can have dire, serious financial implications. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, government's responsibility is to ensure that TNTEC provides the people of this country with a reliable supply of electricity, because if TNTEC is unable to do so, it can have serious implications to the national community and to all consumers. So the government must state its policies and plans with respect to TNTEC debt owed to the NGC.
So all I hear what Marvin say? So where I want to know now is the 9 years of money that the Ministry of Finance allocated and provide for Marvin. Where the money gone? Where is the money? Because of this now, RIC came out now and had to do a survey now that is to raise the electricity rate now. Who paying for it? The citizens had to contribute to that $7 billion debt. Marvin talk about implications, and the UNC have to come out and tell me the plan. Marvin, you see, just so you had that announcement, implication, and they have to come out in a media briefing and tell the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago the 9 years of allocation from the Ministry of Finance to the public utilities for utility. Where the money gone? Where's the money? That is what I want to know. Where is the money? We're going to hear some cock and bull story coming out just now. We're going to hear some cock and bull story. But I want to hear now what the educated Marvin have to say now. Keep in mind, he's a minister, eh? He's a minister. I want to hear what he have to tell Trinidad and Tobago. Where the money gone? When last I hear Clunging Boot? When last I hear Dan Paul? I want 3 of them come out and tell Trinidad and Tobago where is the 9 years of allocation. Citizens, you know who was going to feel that pinch? Olia. Olia was going to feel that. I was going to feel it. You know why? Industrial, commercial is at different rate. Plus I have home, residential. Electricity bill was going up. My company would have, electricity bill would have increased. Why? Because of Marvin doing. So now, so I want to ask the lawyer man, where the money going? I want to, tonight now, I explanated myself tonight, as you would say. So I want to ask the judges in Trinidad if all know where the allocation went. I want to ask the police. I want to ask the intelligence unit. All know where the money went for 9 years? I want to ask the taxi drivers now. I want to ask the market vendors now. All you know where the money went that was allocated? Do we know where the money went? 9 years we paid tax. 9 years we contributed. So the Ministry of Finance could have money. So that the ministries could have money to pay their utility bills, to buy paper for the printer, to buy the ink, to buy the pen, to buy the pencil, to buy the mop bucket for the janitor to clean. But 9 years, Ministry of Public Utilities, state agencies didn't pay the TNTech bill. So where is the money? I'm asking the media houses that tonight. I'm asking the chief editors tonight. I'm asking Central Bank tonight. I'm asking the ministers tonight. Where is the money, Marvin? So I'm waiting for a response. Trinidad and Tobago is waiting for a response. I don't know why I stress on it so long. I have real news to read. Breaking news in Trinidad, you know. But your salary was about to be cut to pay a bill that Marvin responsible for. And he didn't pay it for 9 years. Imagine twice a week you're buying KFC or Royal Castle. 40, 50, 60. You know you had to stop eating that Royal Castle. Because at every 2 months your bill coming up, you're going higher. From 100 to 200. Imagine that, eh? So you had to cut your KFC. You had to cut your Royal Castle. You had to cut your burgers. You had to cut your gyros. Let me tell you something. Instead of buy a whole duck, you had to buy half a duck now on Sunday. All because of who? Because of who? Great is Marvin. All I didn't know. I tell you, I just have news back up, you know. I just get inside info, you know. And when I shared with all you, outside you're bashing. How many of you still had the pothole in front of your house? Nevertheless, viewers, it has been a great program tonight. Our rerun of this program is tomorrow from 11 to 12:30 p.m. And we'll be right back here another night for another Real Talk with Saeed. Until then, be safe.